Now look, will you listen to me? Loads of you have been telling me I have a pregnancy glow, and I'm going to show you how I fake that pregnancy glow with makeup, because it's not a real thing. I don't believe in the pregnancy glow anymore. Nothing changed about my skin or how I look to make it more glowy other than skincare and makeup. So I'm going to start off this Q&A with my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream because it's magical. And yeah, this is going to be like a get ready with me / Q&A catch up chatty video, because I won't be probably doing another Q&A for ages, probably not until my baby is well kind of settled out of the womb. I asked you to send me questions on Instagram and I was expecting them to be a bit more varied. I'd say 70% of them are about the pregnancy and the baby and being a future parent and my fears. And let me just pop this mad looking hair behind my big sticky out ears. But yeah, maybe just play this one in the background while you're, I don't know, cleaning up or whatever way you like to listen to these Q&As, because it's going to be long and chatty. And any products that I'm using I'm going to write down here so I don't have to keep interrupting my chats. We are long overdue a catch up, you know. I know I keep up with you on Instagram stories, sort of, but this is where we get to deep dive. I did get a question asking how I am, which was very nice, because during COVID 2020 in general, I do feel like it's quite rare, and let me know if you're the same, to just hear those words. Someone saying, how are you getting on? How are you? How actually are you? Quite a nice question. I think we should ask each other more often. But yeah, I'm feeling very pregnant now. You know, I could have the baby in 3 weeks, or it could take up to like 7 weeks. So it's the final hurdle now. I'm constantly on the toilet every 10 minutes. I'll probably have to pause this video multiple times to leave and pee. Didn't really sleep, so I am exhausted, which is why I really need makeup today. It makes me feel so much better. I'm feeling quite worried as well, being completely honest with you, is just about, you know, people in my life, people I love, family, all that, just their jobs, people's situations to do with COVID. Our personal situation as a family, like me and my husband, and you know, obviously we're going to be having kids. We were going to be buying a house next year originally, and I don't know now if that's going to happen, because I don't know how things are going to look for the airline industry in a few months and stuff. So we're just trying to be as optimistic as we can, but it's very, very difficult. You know, Thomas isn't flying very much, obviously. People are being advised not to fly right now, and to get a decent mortgage, you know, we would have to buy together as a couple rather than me getting the mortgage by myself, because I wouldn't be able to get enough for like a family size home where we live. And so yeah, I'm trying to deal with all this COVID shite. I'd love to know your coping mechanisms down below. Mine are, you know, I constantly listen to podcasts and read books and watch movies and shows, like anything with a bit of escapism. If you've seen anything very good recently, tell me. I'm dying to see Fleabag. I've seen everyone talking about it, and The Very Sexy Irish Priest for so long.
The priest is quite hot. So hot.
I can't have sex with you because I'll fall in love with you.
We're gonna have sex.
We're gonna have sex, aren't we?
And the second season is out now, so I'll be able to have a little binge watch on Amazon Prime Video. Yeah, they wanted me to let you know that you can have a 7-day free trial now, and you can cancel at any time. So if you want to go and watch a whole show and just check out the thousands of titles that they have so much on there. They have Buffy. Buffy was my biggest childhood crush. Oh my god, I had like this really provocative poster of her over my bed when I was really young. I think my mum was always coming in like, Melanie, like, why do you have that on your wall? It also has the show Vikings, and I was actually an extra in that. I was a featured extra for the whole first season, and I was in the second season as well. I got to be one of Ragnar's servant girls. It was like such a cool job. While I was in uni, I was doing that during the summer. It has The Walking Dead, which I'm trying not to look like right now. I'm trying to look less dead, and Lost, and loads of things like that. But they also have a lot of like original content. Amazon originals like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is a tongue twister, and I had so many of you telling me that I look like her. I still haven't seen that. But they have The Boys and The Upside. It's unlimited streaming for $5.99 a month. A very welcome addition to my streaming services, because there's so much on there that isn't anywhere else, and I can't access anywhere else, you know. So yeah, I'm just throwing myself into worlds and characters that don't exist. do you know what a lot of these young girls are doing nowadays, right? So they'll get their blush, and I notice that they kind of go quite heavy-handed, but then they bring it across their nose as well. And I tried it the other day. It's all these like young TikTok types, but I tried it and I just feel like it looked like I hadn't put any makeup on my nose. It just didn't look, I wasn't loving it. A really interesting question here. So, what's your opinion on raising your child with gender stereotypes? Will you be mindful? This is a really layered subject, and if you mean, like by that, if you mean just stuff like, I don't know, basic things like boys' toys versus girls' toys and that kind of thing, like, no, I'm gonna let my kids pick whatever they want to play with, wear whatever they want, you know, because like that's what my parents did. They just let me be myself, and I would often flip-flop, and I went through lots of different phases and all that. But yeah, I completely believe in equality of opportunity. I'd fight for that for the rest of my life. Like, if I have a daughter, I will want her to grow up knowing that she can go into any field that she wants, career-wise, you know, because she can. And I just want to teach my kids that, you know, say I have a girl, you know, I don't want her to think all of her value lies in how she looks, because it doesn't. And I don't want my son, if I have a son, to think that he can't open up about his emotions and his feelings. And there isn't so much division anymore. And I know for Thomas and I growing up, like, well, even now, you know, like, he doesn't get mad if I want to pay for dinner, and, you know, he does a lot more of the cleaning than I typically would, because I hate cleaning in the house. And God, look, I've hit pan on, this is like my third Moonstone by Becca highlighter. This is the only one I really like. Yeah, when we were growing up, you know, like, Thomas was not into football, and he liked emo music and reading books and stuff like that, and I had crushes on girls, and I would go through phases where I only wanted to wear boys' clothes. I loved anything to do with space. I just want to treat my kids as individuals. I think at the end of the day, we're all unique, and we're all very individual in our interests and what we want out of life. And I think that boils down more to personality than gender, personally. And I think nowadays a lot of those things overlap, and I think it can be very confusing for kids if they think that certain things are gender related when they're not, and they never have been. If you disagree, let me know down below. But I want my kids to embrace the differences between, I don't know, being a boy and a girl, because there are differences. Otherwise, people wouldn't want to transition at all. They wouldn't need to transition. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'd be really, really interested to know your thoughts on that. And then the next question is, how do you deal with any fear or anxiety about giving birth? And I know I have said in the video, like, I've talked a lot about all this stuff in my pregnancy updates, but I'm not worried about the birth. The baby will be out one way or another and stuff. And I have written out a birth preferences kind of birth plan to deal with any and all scenarios. So, you know, how I would prefer a C-section to go if I ultimately need a C-section, everything right down to the nitty-gritty and stuff. But I'm actually planning a natural birth in a midwife-led unit in Drogheda Hospital, which is like half an hour away, and it's a personal choice. I just really want to be able to heal as quick as possible afterwards and avoid like certain complications that can come with certain interventions and all that. But I'm not going to die, so I know that's going to be fine. I'm more worried about afterwards. But seeing as your question is about dealing with the fear and anxiety, because I did have fear about childbirth for a very long time. It just wasn't something I could even imagine, because I didn't know anything about it. I just didn't understand how the body works and how an average typical birth goes and the medical system and all that. So I did a course by the Positive Birth Company, and I 100% recommend it. It has completely alleviated any little niggly worries or anxieties, because I know now what to expect in any different outcome, in any scenario. I understand what can happen, how it can feel, you know. I have tools to deal, well, my partner, it's kind of for you and your birth partner. So even if it's like you and your husband, you and your girlfriend, you and your mother, you and your sister, like, watch it with your birth partner. And now we're doing their postpartum course about when the baby's born, and that's really helpful as well. There was loads of questions about that actually. Like someone said, how do you balance planning natural birth but also being prepared for complications? If you want me to make a whole video about my birth plan, please thumbs up this video, because I don't mind sharing that. I just don't know if many people would be interested. How do you handle the balance between me as a woman or an individual and a soon-to-be mother? And like, oh god, that's a tough question. Like, all I can really say on that is I do think being a parent is going to change me forever, ultimately. Like, I know it will. I know it will, but I am so determined to hang on to my hobbies, my interests, my personality, me. And I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I can't really answer that. But right now I'm kind of just embracing changing, because I'm not afraid of changing. I've always wanted to be a mother. I've always wanted that responsibility, that challenge, because like that's where I find meaning in life is you know, having a project. This is the biggest thing I could really do now. You know, I've kind of succeeded in a lot of other goals that I have had in life, and it's not like I'm going to give up on those, but I'm just so excited. I can't tell you how excited I am for this little person to come out. Fucking come out and meet me now. Have you always wanted to have kids? Yes, absolutely. But I definitely went through a time where I thought it might not happen for me. And then I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe I'll adopt when I'm older, or maybe I will have to go down the surrogate road, or if I end up with a woman, like I might need a sperm donor. Like I just didn't really know for quite a while when I was single in my 20s. But yeah, I've just always imagined my future with a family. I'm just like, what on earth would I do between the ages of like 45 and 90 possibly? A lot of the women in my family live really old. If I didn't have family around me, I would run out of excitement about going to a new country or, you know, whatever else. But like, they're all things I can do with a family. I can still travel, I can still write, I can still work. People do it every day. Like, it's not like I have to sacrifice one or the other, you know. Obviously I won't be able to work as much. I definitely don't want to be one of those people who's just full-time working and not really at home with my kids and stuff. But yeah, I think family is more important to me than loads of money. It just is. Been around plenty of rich people the past few years. I dated a multimillionaire, most miserable person I've ever been around. Loads and loads and loads and loads of money doesn't make you happy. Like, money definitely helps, but it's only when you make enough to kind of avoid awful situations. Like, you know, you have enough, you can easily pay your mortgage or your rent, you can afford food, you can do all the things you need to do to stave off misery. Above that, I don't actually think it improves anything, and studies have shown that as well. So like, yeah, family is way more important to me than myself and my life and my money. What are you most scared about when having the baby? Like, do you just want a whole video about like my fears, like about being a parent? Because there's many and many of them, but the main one isn't even about like when it's a baby. Well, kind of, but technology. It's like, I'm terrified of the fact that I'm having children in this age of technology and everything's online and it's all digital, and because it's so different from the childhood that I had, and I want my kid to have a childhood like the one I had, and I am not going to understand the kinds of technology that my kid is using by the time it gets to school. Because I look at parents now and they're just, you know, I don't even know how to use TikTok or anything like that, let alone all these like virtual reality games and all that they play. And, you know, they play online now with other people and they're talking to people who they don't know. I am definitely going to be that parent who is an arsehole, and like my husband wants to drill through the camera on the first camera phone that we give to our child. It might not even be a camera phone by then. It'll probably be like some, I don't know, we can't even conceptualize it because it's changing all the time so fast. But yeah, like, he saw this study that really worried me. It was about children sending explicit images, and it was asking all of these young, basically children, you know, people under 18 in the Dublin area, if they'd ever sent an explicit image, and 75% of them said they had. Like, young teenagers, so basically just sending around child pornography. And I've become really aware in the past couple of months of how bad our problems are in this world to do with human trafficking and all that kind of stuff. So I'm so nervous about, yeah, just having kids in this, at this time of humanity. How did you guys start the conversation about deciding to start trying for a baby? The most important thing in a relationship is good communication in my mind. Like, obviously there's trust and respect and all that kind of thing, but like, you have to be able to just say what is on your mind. I feel like maybe the only reason why someone might not want to say that to a partner is like if their partner has given an indication that they're not in that headspace already or whatever. Like, if they've not said something like that, then don't assume. Like, just bring it up, you know. I think our first conversation about kids happened a few months into dating, and Thomas said something like, oh, when I have kids, I'm gonna trick them into thinking, you know, grapes are like sweets. He was like, I want to have a treats press that has like fruit and chopped up carrot sticks and all that in it, and just kind of act like they're like, oh, I can't wait to have one of those, you know. This basically the same way people do with like chocolate and all that. And anyway, he just started talking about this stuff, and I realized then, I was like, oh, he actually wants kids. Okay, cool. He didn't say when, or he definitely was not talking about having kids with me. He was just talking about in general. So that kind of opened up the floor for us to be able to talk about having children in general. And yeah, we would just kind of mention it over time. Then I think once we realised we wanted to have kids together, we would talk about when we have kids this and when we have kids that. And he is 2 years younger than me. I don't know if you all know that. He's a toy boy. But he was aware, obviously, of my age. And, you know, he has other women in his life. And he's very much aware that if someone wants to have 2 or 3 children and they're already coming on up on 30 and stuff, like we started dating when I was 27, he was aware that it would be something that would have to happen for me within the next few years. And I think any guy who is dating an older woman and doesn't have that in his mind and isn't sure if he wants kids but still goes along with dating a woman who he knows wants children, who he knows has a time window on it. And it's not just about fertility, you know. A lot of people don't want to be 70 at their kid's graduation or dead, you know. Like, there's other things to consider other than just fertility. That's why people prioritize these things at a certain stage of life if they really want it. Some people could take it or leave it. I really wanted it. Initially, Thomas kind of was one of those people who could take it or leave it, and then he was like, oh no, I really want this with you. But the conversation that happened for us to actually start trying was when my periods became irregular and I developed acne on my back, and my sister was diagnosed with PCOS, and I knew there was other PCOS in the family, and then I had an ovarian cyst, and there was just all this talk and worry around my fertility or whatever. And like my doctor said, it on average takes 6 months to a year for a couple to conceive a baby naturally, and we both wanted to avoid going down the IVF route. You know, it's very expensive and it's a lot on the woman. We were just having conversations around this, and like I just remember one day we looked at each other and we kind of just felt the same. Like, we felt like we were in that place and all. But it just starts with, like, you have to communicate what you want with your partner. You have to feel safe and comfortable. Absolutely, there is no two ways around it. You can't be with someone or marry someone who you are scared to talk about something that is so important to you. So don't be afraid to bring it up, and don't be afraid of how the person will react. And if they do not react well, or they give you an answer that is not an answer you'd like to hear, then you know at least where you both stand together. What are you and Thomas most looking forward to watching your baby experience for the first time? Pasta. Just food. I'm so excited about the weaning stage because we are both big foodies. Like, we love our food. So I'm really excited for Baba to taste things and see their face light up, especially eating things that maybe I ate during pregnancy a lot, that they obviously were getting through my placenta, and just see them eating, see them reacting to foods, and even just watching Disney movies with my kids. Oh my God, I cannot wait to see them react, you know. What aspect of being a mother are you most excited for? I kind of touched on that earlier, but yeah, like the challenge of it, like having that massive responsibility, like it's just going to give me so much every day, so much purpose, so much focus. Like, not that I feel like I don't have those things now, but it's just like on another level, isn't it? Because when you have people who rely on you, I've always just felt like when you're doing stuff for other people is when you feel the happiest. When I feel the happiest anyway is when I am doing things to better someone else's life experience, and that's like every single day with a child. I am very aware that they're not going to be thanking me for my efforts. Like, they're not going to give a crap about any of the sacrifice I make or anything like that until they're probably in their mid-20s, because that's how long it took me to realize how much my parents did for me. Like, I'm not going to be wanting a clap on the back for every time I do something for it or anything like that. It's just a selfless thing, like the selflessness of being a parent. And yeah, it's just oh god, the whole thing. Someone asked, will I do a birth vlog? And now obviously if everything pans out well and I don't go into labour when I'm like down in Cork for my sister-in-law's wedding or whatever, then yes, I plan on doing a video about my experiences, and I'm hoping that Thomas will be able to get clips of the whole thing. And yeah, I don't know how long it will take me to edit that together though, because like someone else asked me about, you know, taking maternity leave or taking time off. Like, I don't really want to be doing very much for at least the first month after the baby's born, and then after that I'm just kind of going to be doing this at a hobby level rather than at a job level. And it's not just this that's my job. I do a lot of other things behind the scenes toward earning money that isn't just YouTube stuff. But yeah, I will definitely keep you updated on Instagram. You know, like, Instagram is not, you can't really call Instagram work. Like, I know I do some sponsored stuff through Instagram, although that takes up a very small segment of all of the time that I spend working. You know, I still think of Instagram as just a hobby. Your new hair colour is amazing. Can I ask what shade it is? And are you still using Wella? Thank you so much. And yes, I am still using Wella. I use their Colston Perfect. I worked with them on a campaign about this dye. Anyway, it's like having shampoo on your head. There's no stinging if you're one of those people who's really sensitive to hair dye, but it reduces your risk of allergies and stuff, and they use it in Wella salons. So I just went in and I got him to lighten the bottoms of my hair, so he just kind of like used bleach and whatever, and then it's like a chocolate brown on the top. Pregnancy sex positions. Oh my god, the amount of you who asked about sex and positions and all of that very personal juicy stuff. But I understand, like, I'm very open about sex, and I know that a lot of my followers are pregnant as well, or are like planning on getting pregnant, and it's very scary. But the thing is, I worked really hard on my body image before I got pregnant, and my partner makes me feel very desirable, and that helps definitely. So one of the only positions that I am comfortable in is being on top, but obviously to do that you have to be very comfortable with everything being on show, and I am, thankfully. That you can do doggy, you can do like spooning in the bed. It doesn't have to be full on intercourse either. Like, remember that, like, you know, one of my best friends, a lovely gay man, he doesn't have any kind of penetrative sex. He just likes oral sex and, you know, all the other things that come with sex. Like, your sex life isn't just like in out of one whole. Like, it's about connecting with the person and sharing an erotic moment together. And you don't have to be having intercourse. Like, if you're not feeling it one day while you're pregnant and you're just, you know, like, at the moment I am quite uncomfortable with the possible bladder infection and just the weight of the baby. It's like a bowling ball. My advice to you is to just, like, don't think of sex as just intercourse, because it's not. But yeah, the intercourse is nice and very important, and try around. Like, we've just tried basically all of the positions to find the ones that, like, well, basically that I like the most. I only feel good in certain positions physically in terms of being able to relax and stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm very aware that we all have very different bodies, so play around with it until you find something that you like. How did you know Thomas was the one? That concept of the one, you know, I think we have many ones, many people who we would be compatible with. We probably get a handful of chances in life where we meet someone who we could make a go at things with, but the timing might be off and stuff like that. I think he was always one of those people for me, even back when we were friends. Like, I always knew, like, there was just that something there, that intangible kind of, the thing you can't describe, that attraction, you know. But if you mean the one, in terms of the one that I chose, that I would want to commit to settle down with, I knew quite early, like I knew within 6 months. I knew when I would see how he spoke to his mother. I knew when I saw him deal with conflict. I knew when I saw how hardworking he was. I knew in how he made me feel about myself and how supportive he was of me in anything that I wanted to do. And you have to know what you're looking for in order to know if someone fulfills that for you, you know what I mean? And I did know, because I dated so much. I knew what I didn't want and I knew what I did want. And because I come from a family where my parents got divorced as well. This is actually, let me just check my microphone. Yes, batteries have not died. But yeah, like my parents obviously split up when I was very young, and I'm not going to go into that or anything like that, but what I mean is I realised that it was very important to me that if I marry somebody or have children with somebody, that if we did break up, like if I went into this with the plan of never leaving, you know, I'm like, I am here, I'm in this shit. But if he ever left, didn't want to be with me anymore or whatever, what was important for me was to marry someone who I knew would still be a really good parent and would be easy enough to get on with outside of the relationship if it ended in 20 years time, or you know, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know. But we were both very serious about marriage, and we both didn't see it as this thing of like, oh, it's just this romantic thing, let's get married. Like, we take it very, very seriously, and we're both in it. It's like, no matter what, we are going to work this shit out. Like, we've had moments where it's been really hard, you know, and we figured it out, because that's what you do when you commit to somebody, you know. When do you think your next novel will be published? It's actually going to be not until 2022, because yeah, I have a lot of it written and stuff, but I need to edit and rewrites and stuff, and I am doing a lot of work non-YouTube related, and I want it to be really good. I want it to be better than If Only. So yeah, obviously I have the baby coming as well, and I want to really throw myself into that and, like, you know, not fuck up the first few months of my child's life by just trying to juggle the baby with this big huge project. But I will be announcing the title soon, and pre-orders and all that kind of stuff, and telling you a bit more about it. So do keep an eye out on my Instagram and on here and stuff like that, because I will talk a bit more about that soon. But I have absolutely loved writing it, and to be honest, like, that project got me through so much of the start of all this lockdown crap. Oh my god, it was so nice to have that distraction. Breastfeeding or bottle feeding, I'm going to try and do breastfeeding. You know, we'll see how it goes. I've chatted to enough mothers now to know that I shouldn't put myself under any, like, massive pressure. I really, really, really want to breastfeed, because I understand the benefits completely. The only reason I would stop would be if the baby was, like, starving and it just wasn't latching, or something else, and the midwives couldn't help me with it and stuff, like, then yeah, I'd switch to formula and stuff. But we'll see. We'll go down that road when we get there. Advice on ignoring judgment from other mothers. Same as ignoring judgment from fucking anybody, you know? Like, everyone is entitled to their own views, their own opinions. All mothers are just out there trying to do their best. They are doing what works for them and for their children. And oh, there's so many preachy mothers out there, and, like, judgmental women, and, like, women who take someone's decision as, like, a slight on their own decision, which is so stupid. Like, if one person is breastfeeding, the act of them breastfeeding or wanting to breastfeed in no way is a judgment or a commentary on you not breastfeeding. You know what I mean? So it's when people actually go up to someone and be like, I think you should do it this way, or like, why are you not doing this? That's one thing, but, like, saying what you think yourself or whatever, that's a whole separate thing. And I just think it's just this big clusterfuck of bullshit, and I've no time for it. Don't care. I'm just always going to do and say what I think is right for me and my baby. I'm going to answer one more question, and it's a really important one. But yeah, that's generally how I have a glowy face I'd usually go a bit heavier with the eye makeup, but I find that very difficult to do on camera, so I'm not even going to try and do that. I'll embarrass myself massively. Don't even know if my eyeshadow is even. Sure, doesn't matter. I feel a lot better now than I did at the start of filming this. The last question is, will I post a picture of the baby once it's been born? And I just wanted to address this a little bit, but I might make an entire video on how I feel about putting my own children on the internet and stuff like that. And again, that's not me judging people who do put their children on the internet, because I watch people constantly. I love seeing babies and kids and stuff online. Like I live for it. That's nearly all I consume. I will be sharing pictures and vlogs and stuff like that where you might see side of the baby's face, back of the baby's head. You might hear its little voice in the background or see its little hands or its little feet or something like that. But I really want to put this out there so no one's like really disappointed or anything like that. My kid isn't going to be part of my content, and there's so many reasons for that, which I'll go into in another video. But I want this channel and my Instagram and all that to remain about me and my life experiences and stuff. So sharing the pregnancy stuff, you know, that's all grand, because like right now the baby is part of my body, so anything goes. I don't mind sharing all about pregnancy and stuff, because that's a female thing, a thing related to sex and body image and so many other things that I talk about. So obviously I was going to be sharing about pregnancy, and I will obviously be sharing about motherhood again, because it's a different phase of life. And I've been making videos since I was like 23 and now I'm 31. Yeah, I will be including Baba in a way, but if you follow people, say like Ashley Graham or, you know, Casey Neistat, if you look at his Instagram feed right now, how they go about sharing their kids is kind of the way I want to go about it, where no one would really recognize the kid if they were out and about. I have a good 4 or 5 really big, solid reasons for why I kind of want to keep my kid off the internet. And it's the same with Facebook and all. Like, I'm only going to be really sending full pictures and videos to family and friends, and just keeping the stuff online very kind of like me focused. With it's fine if it's just like unrecognizable, like where no one's getting a complete face scan of my baby. That's what I'm saying. And I hope that doesn't piss any of you off, and I think a lot of you actually will be very supportive of that decision and will understand it completely. The internet is just too new. It's too new, and I'm too worried about putting my kid out there in any big way. I'm way too worried about it, and I just don't think it's worth putting myself through the stress or the child. Yeah, there's already plenty of amazing children online, and I just kind of really want my kids to have a very normal life. But yeah, that's that chatty Q&A. I will do another one as a new mammy. Yeah, I haven't done a get ready with me in so long. Like, I don't know why. My makeup is boring. I don't do any of this. You know, I just see people like James Charles and everything's like, ooh. And then it's me just here like, yes, I'm using the same things as I was using like last year, but whatever. I tried to mix it up by using a different mascara. Thumbs this video up if you liked it, and yeah, chat to me down below about my answers to the questions, and I'll see you again in another video very, very soon. Bye. I'm gonna have a baby soon. Oh my god.